schools are going to have added VAT on them. But what could this mean for the British royal family and the royal children that are currently attending private school? In this video, we're going to look deeper into this VAT and what it will mean for millions of children attending private school, which also includes the British royal family's children that are also currently attending private school. This includes Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, who are attending Ladbroke, and also their cousins who are also attending elite private schools across the UK. Now, to go into a little bit of basics of this, VAT is basically added charge to a certain thing, such as you get VAT on, I think you can get VAT on furniture and stuff like that, but Labour, the new government in the UK, have decided to add on VAT for all private schools starting the 1st of January 2025. So in around 4 months, that means that all private schools are going to have an added 20% of VAT added onto their already soaring fees. And you might be sitting there wondering, will the British royal family have to pay VAT for their children? And the simple answer is yes, they will. They will not be exempt from this 20% VAT added on to their fees. Yes, this means the parents of Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis, Savannah and Isla Phillips, and Lena, Lucas and Mia Tyndall, as well as other members who are related to the British royal family, will all not be exempt from paying this 20% added VAT on private school fees, even though the Prince and Princess of Wales are senior royals and the other ones are related to the royal family or do work with the royal family every so often. Yes, this means that the cousins will also have to pay VAT. What is this added VAT? Well, at the moment it's a standard 20% added VAT onto all private school fees, which means that any child that is in a private boarding or a private prep school or pre-prep school or anything like that, they will all have to pay an added 20% VAT onto their fees. Now, many people are sort of divided against this, which I completely understand, because the 20% VAT is a lot of money. Most private schools, Ladbroke for instance, where Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis are currently enrolled at, it's around £7,000 per month, and it goes up depending on the age of the child. So for instance, for Prince Louis, it'll be less expensive for him to attend Ladbroke per term than it is for Prince George, who is near enough the eldest in Ladbroke at the moment. Now, obviously people are divided, as I've said, simply because the reason they're divided in this 20% VAT lark is because not everyone in private school is actually in private school because they are paying the full fees. Lots of children be given the opportunity to be accepted under a bursary, or they get it under a scholarship. So actually these VAT prices are going to really hit people that are having the school fund half or nearly all of their child's education at a private school. And you sit there and go, okay, well, you know, they had the choice to send their child to private school. Yes, but if they're being given that opportunity to have their child in a private school, they should be allowed to choose to have their child in private school without being basically punished for putting your child in private school. That is what people are saying, and I completely understand that, because why parents should be punished for putting their child in private school by having an added VAT, which people can barely afford to turn their heating on. So why they're adding added VAT come January when it's literally the coldest is a bit like, okay, that's a little bit harsh for parents, especially when people have just chosen to send their children to private school, like people have chosen to send their child to state school. There's nothing wrong with either, you know. Parents have the choice to send their child to private or state, depending on what's best for their child. So not everyone that is elite goes to a private school, and that has been true for ages, especially since they opened bursaries and scholarships to allow other people to attend private school regardless of their financial situation. Obviously, the other side of this argument is people are like, well, the 20% of VAT from private schools can be used to help fund the state sector, which is completely fair enough. You know, every child should have the same opportunity regardless of what school you choose. Also, I don't understand why it's really high. I don't understand why it's super like 20%. That is a big amount of VAT to add to private school fees, which people who, some people can barely afford to send their child to private school, so let alone adding a VAT on that. Some people are really going to unfairly struggle, which I think is another argument that's going around. When it comes to the state sector, it obviously is very underfunded. I don't think that's, we can't really blame that on the private sector because they're a completely different sector to the state sector. So I don't know how it's going to help. You know, obviously if they do use this 20% tax to help the state sector, I mean, it probably would help, but I don't think I don't think it's, you know, I just don't think it's a fair option. I think there would be probably another option. When it comes down to Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, they know nothing different than private school. George went to his first private school when he was 4, and before that he went to a private Montessori school in Norfolk. So George, when he was 4, back in 2017, he enrolled in reception at Thomas's Battersea and stayed there until he was in, I think it was year 4. Princess Charlotte obviously joined Thomas's Battersea back in 2019. Before that, she went to a private nursery school. And then Charlotte joined Lambrook in 2022 alongside her other siblings, and she enrolled at Lambrook in year 3. Then obviously Prince Louis, he started in a Montessori school, the same Montessori nursery school as Princess Charlotte did. I think it was a Montessori nursery school, I think it was. And then Prince Louis started at Lambrook with his older siblings back in 2022. So George, Charlotte and Louis know nothing different than a private school, basically. And all members of the British royal family have gone to either a private school or a boarding school or been homeschooled, depending on what era you look at it in. But that's just the royal family continuing a very long line of tradition. They've always been privately educated, and that's them continuing that tradition. Now, again, I've said this before, I don't personally think that the Prince and Princess of Wales will have a problem with this private school tax, because I've heard from a source online that apparently the Prince and Princess of Wales have, you know, a dedicated funding, that they have like a private funding thing, where you know, it's money that they make themselves, not money that's from the sovereign grant and stuff like that. That's how they pay for their children's private schooling. So I don't think it will affect the British royal family, this 20% tax thing, and you know, Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis's cousins also attend a private school. I don't think it will affect them as much. But I do think that this 20% tax is going to affect a lot of people unfairly in the private school sector. Again, I don't know, because I've never attended a private school. I've had family that have attended private school, but I went to a state school. So I don't know much about the private school sector, but I've done as much research as I can. So yes guys, that's the end of the video. If you like the video, smash the like button, also press subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching everyone. Bye!